This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Family and residents stunned after woman decapitated and mentally ill son arrested. Residents of retirement St. James were left in shock after news emerged that a woman had been found decapitated inside her house on Monday evening. 53-year-old Michelle Gail Brown is suspected to have been attacked by her mentally ill adult son, a police source told the news. It is believed that Gail Brown, a mother of one, was killed early Monday morning. She failed to turn up at work in Freeport, which aroused the suspicion among her co-workers, who requested that the police conduct a check on her house. The check resulted in her headless body being found inside the house. Her head was later found under a bed. When the news visited the community on Monday evening, a grim picture was painted of the horrific incident by residents who described the deceased as a pleasant, God-fearing woman. In addition to being beheaded, Gail Brown is said to have been found with defensive wounds across her upper body. Her adult son surrendered to the police at the crime scene, emerging from a dark road with his hands held in the air. He was handcuffed and placed in the back of a police van on location. The deceased woman's neighbor, Nalda Barnaby, told the news that they shared a very good relationship. Obviously traumatized by the gruesome killing, Barnaby said she has been in complete horror since learning of the woman's demise. "We were very good friends. She was somebody you can depend on. My daughter nearly dropped down when we tell her what happened," Barnaby said. Her last conversation with Gail Brown, though brief, will forever linger in the mind of the grieving woman. "Sunday morning, me did have to rush out to go work. And when me reach, me call her because me realize that she did a call me. From that time, me no hear from her again," Barnaby said, her voice heavy with emotion. Adrian Muirhead, a cousin of the deceased woman, told the news that his family was in shock. "She's like a sister. We grew up together, so we share a close relationship," Muirhead said. "We had a very good relationship. We communicated every week. Boy, I can't even fathom this. I don't even know what to think. It is just shocking. Everybody in shock right now. We did not expect this," he told the news. The man said he received the shocking news from a concerned family member after several failed attempts to reach Gail Brown by phone. "I got a call from a cousin in Upper St. James who asked me if I heard from Michelle. Shortly after, one of her neighbors called me to ask the same question, and I said no. I tried to call her phone, but I didn't get through. My cousin called back to tell me what happened, and I came here," he said. Residents who gathered at the crime scene stood traumatized as they described their relationship with the dead woman. "I am in shock as well because we had an interaction on Friday. She asked me to share something that I had with her. She was saying to me that as neighbors we need to interact more," one man said. "I would always see her going to church on a Sunday or to work during the week. Even the other day when our road was impassable because of floodwater, she and another lady came with a shovel to clear the way," another one added. A man who told the news that he was also a neighbor of Gail Brown's reported that the suspected man had been acting strangely on Sunday evening. "Yesterday I was doing some work outside in the back, and I heard him making some strange noise over there. He was shouting loudly, which was out of the ordinary. He wasn't even talking to anybody," he said. Gail Brown's son has been detained. Tropical storm watch discontinued for Jamaica, periods of rainfall to persist. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica has indicated that the tropical storm watch for Jamaica has been lifted. According to the Met Service's latest bulletin, Tropical Storm Lisa has begun moving away from the island and over the northwestern Caribbean Sea. However, Jamaica could continue to experience periods of rainfall. On Monday, the U.S. National Hurricane Center stated that a tropical storm watch was in effect for Jamaica as the system was expected to pass south of the island. This meant that tropical storm conditions would have started to affect Jamaica within 48 hours. But according to the Met Service, although the tropical storm watch is no longer in effect, the system will induce bands of rainfall over the Caribbean, including Jamaica, for the next couple of days. Residents should remain on alert for possible flash flood in flood-prone areas. Fishers and other small craft operators are also encouraged to exercise caution until wind and the sea conditions have returned to normal. The Met Service says it will continue to monitor the progress of the system. Police not yet involved in JDF sexual harassment case. The police have not yet been called in to investigate claims of sexual harassment, including rape against the senior Jamaica Defense Force officer, a week after the Army confirmed that it was probing the matter. Chief of Defense Staff Rear Admiral Wims Gorman made the revelation in an interview Monday afternoon with journalist Dion Jackson Miller on her news and the current affairs program Beyond the Headlines on Radio Jamaica. The investigation has been ongoing. If it amounted to that, it will amount to that. At this point, it's just the ongoing investigation, Wims Gorman told Jackson Miller when asked if the matter had been referred to the police. Before the JDF chief's interview, the news had called the Center of Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse to find out if the police are involved in the probe. However, a senior officer told the news to direct the question to the JDF and repeated that answer when other questions were asked. When the news called the JDF, a spokesman said he could not speak on the matter at this time and informed the news of Wims Gorman's upcoming interview with Jackson Miller. Last Tuesday, the JDF had issued a release saying that the accused senior officer had been recalled from training overseas to enable further investigation and the appropriate disciplinary proceedings. On Monday, when Jackson Miller asked the Army boss if the accused officer was back in the island, she said no. Asked why, Wims Gorman said in this instant case there are some administrative complications in terms of the repatriation of the person. She explained that the officer was deployed on a long course and therefore it requires some time to get him all squared away at the institution for his return. Earlier Monday, the news was made privy to grumblings among a number of JDF soldiers who pointed to the case of 2 soldiers in March 2021 who were arrested and charged following the rape of a fellow woman soldier at Upper Camp. At the time, Lieutenant Nathan Curtis, the JDF's civil military cooperation officer, had said that the Army was aware of an incident that took place on Wednesday, March 10, 2021, involving members of the force, and the matter was immediately reported to Sisoko and was being investigated by that agency. According to Lieutenant Curtis, due to the swift action of members of the JDF, the 2 suspects were apprehended shortly after the incident and were charged by the police. On Monday, during the Beyond the Headlines interview, Jackson Miller asked Wims Gorman whether the accused officer in the current case was being protected in any way by the JDF. We are just proceeding with the investigations as per our normal standard operating procedures. Persons are being held to account and made available for the investigation, the Chief of Defense Staff responded. She also reiterated that her stance on breaches of the sexual harassment policy is that they will be treated quite seriously. No bacterial outbreak baby deaths at Spanish Town Hospital, says Green. The Southeast Regional Health Authority has denied the claims that newborns recently died from a bacterial outbreak at Spanish Town Hospital amid revelations of swirling infections at the Victoria Jubilee, which killed at least 13 babies since July. People's National Party General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell turned up the heat on Under Fire Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton on Monday, questioning whether a similar bacterial scourge had caused the newborn deaths at the Spanish Town Hospital. Campbell rallied a crowd of partisans, including Spanish Town Mayor Norman Scott, councillors and supporters who displayed placards during a noisy protest outside the St. Catherine Hospital. But Sarah Director Errol Green, in a statement issued to the news late on Monday, said there have been no deaths of babies linked to bacterial spread in Spanish Town's nursery. Green said that the increased mortality rate in July, when 43% of infected babies with Klebsiella pneumoniae and Acinetobacter perished at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital, and August compared to earlier months, is consistent with the pattern of an influx of preterm infants being delivered during that period. We have had no deaths in babies with positive cultures in the last 3 months. We have had no bacterial outbreak in the SCN at the Spanish Town Hospital, Green said at the special care nursery. The babies that demised based on autopsy reports did so from varying reasons. Prematurity, prenatal asphyxia, extreme prematurity, congenital pneumonia were some of the causes found at a post-mortem. Green said that health officials were proactive when they noticed an uptick in the rate of admissions and overcrowding triggering routine deep cleaning and swabbing. Among the recommendations was the cleaning of the air conditioning units. We therefore relocated to HDU on the 13th of October to facilitate this, Green said. HDU is a high dependency unit. Deep cleaning is a routine twice-monthly activity in the nursery to reduce the risk of transmission of microorganisms. Earlier, Campbell maintained his call for Tufton's resignation for failing to make public the outbreak until 4 months later. I want the minister to tell us how many babies have died right here at Spanish Town Hospital. And we don't want to hear that you didn't tell us because we are going to panic. We want to know what is going on at this hospital, Campbell demanded. The party general secretary accused the Tufton of dereliction of duty and the mismanagement of the health sector. 9 newborns died at the Victoria Jubilee Maternity Hospital in July, 7 from Klebsiella and 2 from Acinetobacter. 2 Klebsiella deaths were recorded in August and 2 more in September. The health ministry has said that a previously listed death in October, the 14th of the 4-month period, has since been disqualified as having been caused by Klebsiella. Both Tufton and Prime Minister Andrew Holness are scheduled to address Parliament on Tuesday. Campbell, who is a medical doctor, argued that the health minister is not fit for the job because of his ignorance of healthcare matters. He also bashed Tufton for allegedly believing he was above criticism and being held accountable. He said he didn't tell the country because he didn't want a panic and hysteria, but Minister Tufton needs to understand that he is not the authority on matters relating to health care. To be frank, Minister Tufton cannot even pronounce most of the jargons in the health industry, Campbell said. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.